Hello everyone, and welcome to This Week in Anitube, and today we have quite a few My Hero Academia topics. The first one being about Bakugo's tragic end. In fact, it was tragic enough for Synap to break down crying, Lost Pause to also tweet about it that he can't believe it, and NUX TAKU not only being the one to break the story on Twitter, but also making an entire video about it, which is a completely hilarious joke. I can't believe he got a whole bunch of people to actually buy into this. When I first saw NUX TAKU tweeting about it, I was pressing X to doubt. It only later started becoming more believable when Lost Pause and Synapse started posting about it. If you don't know, NUX TAKU made up the story about Bakugo's death, and it made a whole conversation about his death in the manga. It was a pretty neat joke, and it got so big that if you look into Google and type in "what chapter," the first thing that comes up is, what chapter did Bakugo die in? This one small, fake spoiler went and blew up into something way bigger, and it's pretty hilarious. In fact, he went so far as into paying artists in Bakugo dying, just so he can have a very convincing thumbnail in the style of the anime. Because by God, this is a brilliant way to joke on people. It reminds me of a bit of what I was saying a little while ago, that if you just get 2 to 3 of the biggest Anitubers to tweet about something with a hashtag and work together, you can more than likely get it trending real fast. But you know, it has to be something that you can join in on, kinda like when Keem started the hashtag ban K-pop. But yes, this was a very big and hilarious troll, getting a whole bunch of big Anitubers to join in on this meme. NUX TAKU. As for the next topic, What the What released a video on My Hero Academia as well. But it's mostly to fight the narrative that there aren't any good females in Shonen, which one of his great examples he uses is the Madoka Box series, which is a series I praise pretty well, although some of his choices are a bit strange. Rukia from Bleach? But yes, this is a video showing that there is an inherent problem with a lot of Shonen discourse, and how a lot of people make up their minds about a whole genre or whatever, with only watching a few anime from that genre, and thus whatever conclusion they come to is highly inaccurate. The next one will be a very quick mention. Ember Review also made a My Hero Academia video, but this goes more into analyzing these 4 pictures, and shows how they advertise it, the meaning behind it, and it's just an analysis of these 4 photos. Now, based off the title, I thought it was going to be a completely different kind of video. But you know, if you're interested in this kind of thing, this should suit you decently well. Next video. For this one, imagine if Demolition D never went into retirement and was like, "Fuck this, everyone's copying me? Ha, I'll do something no Anituber has the balls for. I'm gonna change my channel into hentai. And do nothing but hentai reviews. Only to inevitably be disappointed because another person has done it." Hartigan made a Should You Fap to Lego Indiana Jones. Now I love this video for a multitude of reasons. 1, the premise is ridiculous. 2, it's an actual review. And 3, it is actually hilarious. But the final reason is a big reason. This was a fan-voted video, and he shows that he can take whatever concept and make it pretty fucking hilarious. This was also showed with his last subscriber special, with the Rocks one. This person's a natural-born comedian, who can take whatever topic they are talking about and make it hilarious. I would want to explain more about the video, but at the same time, I think it would remove a lot of the hilarity. But with that being said, just remember this. It's not about whether you should or shouldn't fap to Lego Indiana Jones, but rather, now you can. I love that video. The next one being Econ's video. Now, there's a lot I disagree with in this KyoAni video, and a lot I agree with. But I want to break down some of the points that I feel are either contradictory or don't make sense. The first part being when he talks about healing, where he talks about how a human can heal from an injury, but a company can't heal from this because they are dead. How are they going to heal it? He uses this example, but doesn't understand how his premise doesn't even work to begin with. Let's start with the glaring issue. When people say heal, they don't mean completely restore 100% back to the way it was, because not even your example, cuts and wounds or injuries like that, even when you heal from them, it doesn't have you go back to 100% of way they were. Even when you get cuts and whatnot, it doesn't 100% heal exactly. If you get a big enough cut, you get a scar, thus it will always stay on your body. Are you trying to say it didn't heal because there's a scar? By all intents and purposes, people would be saying that that is healing. It just didn't heal all the way back to the original self. We could also take a look at if there's an Olympic runner who goes and breaks his legs. They're probably not going to be an Olympic runner anymore, even if their legs heal. Healing doesn't mean restore it 100% back to the exact way it was. The next part we get into is when he says people aren't their jobs. While technically on the surface, yes, this is true. But at the same time, a lot of artists when they die, what is the conversation? Is the conversation about them or the works of art that they've provided to society? While yes, there are some people that know the backstory to the old artist, That definitely isn't the majority, and most of the conversation about the artist takes form of their work and art. But this doesn't happen in just art. Kind of like how we don't have everyone in the whole world mourn when some random person dies, but it will get trending on Twitter whenever Stephen Hawking dies. And a lot of people will rather be talking about his accomplishments and the things he's done, rather than who he is as a person. Now let's bring it back to the example you brought up. You talk about shooting that happened on a grocery store, and then say, well, it's not like KyoAni. Okay, but what does a grocery store do? It allows you to buy goods that help you live in life. The necessities. The stuff you've gone with your entire life. In fact, the store is about as natural as breathing air. Now let's turn the attention to KyoAni or any other art form. While art can convey certain emotions and can pull from those emotions, it also can impact people's lives way more on a wide scale than a grocery store can. Sure, there could be someone there that met their love of their life and maybe proposed there or something like that. That's a thing. And compare that to an impact and how much of a wide-scale audience for a giant list of art forms that each one can impact someone's life drastically or help them cope with something. Or maybe they just want to get lost in reality and wants to get away from whatever is happening in their life. These things can affect someone on a much more personal level. So obviously there's going to be more than just a, oh, that is tragic kind of mentality. You also say we should remember the individuals. While, yes, that is true, but you also say you shouldn't conform them to what their work is. These aren't two mutually exclusive things. You can remember the individuals and appreciate the artwork they have given to the world. It's just a weird false dichotomy that you're springing upon people. And then you say somewhere in there about helping the individual and families and whatnot. But then you also go and explain how the fundraiser is helping to pay for the family's funeral costs and all that stuff. So yes, the fundraiser is actually helping those. And the last thing I wanted to address, because I just don't remember the rest of it off the top of my head, if you take a look at almost everything you say, and take it all literally with all the contradictions and all, where you talk about should people be trying to heal instead of mourning and groveling or anything like that, it feels more like you're advocating as nothing should be done. But even then, even if that's not what you're advocating, because it doesn't have a real solution inside the video, I still detest the idea that because you're not as far along in the grieving process as other people to the point that they're moving past it, thus they shouldn't be trying to move past it either. Stuff shouldn't be forgotten. It's an experience that you should have, but you should be overcoming it. Some people just overcome these things faster than other people. It's one way to self-improvement. And I don't think these people are wrong to talk about how KyoAni has affected them in one way, shape, or another. Because just like how a lot of people get through the grieving faster than others, a lot of people also get through it in other ways. So I accidentally knocked out the cord of my microphone while talking about this next topic, so take two. The next topic is Caribou-kun, or as his alternate channel is called, Shabes. Which, by the way, if you don't know, after seeing their video, it kinda got me thinking, hey, no, why don't I do something like this? I talk about a lot of videos in Discord and voice chat anyways, so it might be fun to make it into a series. Although I have a lot of problem trying to explain the stuff that I actually like. I usually can only really explain it when I can find something that has a flaw, because the structure's all there. All I need to do is write down why it's wrong. So if you don't like the way I do things, Shabes might be more of your tempo. If I remember right, I'm not exactly sure, he organizes it in 3 categories. Decent, good, and best, if I remember right. And he actually does it more often than me, so if you don't get enough from whatever I do, you can check out his channel. One thing I wanted to clear up is just how much effort I'm putting into these. I think he made it seem a little too much of what I do. Like, I don't have like a full script for any of these. I go off the top of my head for some of these. Some I put cliff notes, bullet points and stuff like that for stuff I like, hey, this is the beginning of the week and I just saw this. Let me write this down so I know what it is for when I come back to it. And the last thing is, if I feel I can't convey a point without scripting it out, that's the ones I script out. I don't script the whole thing. The purpose of these is to have some content in between uploads, so that you aren't going months without anything. And the secondary purpose is to show people that I don't just mindlessly hate everything. I wouldn't be doing the things that I do if I didn't like Anitube. I don't know anyone that would really just sit down and meticulously, constantly watch all of Anitube unless they liked it. It's just that the stuff that I talk critical about is usually what gets seen. I had a lot more in my first take and I don't remember the rest of it. If I missed anything, sorry, I'm pretty terrible at explaining stuff a second time around. Yes, I do a lot of retakes, even when it's unscripted, but that's only if I hear that something is going wrong while it's recording, or if it's like legitimately really bad, so I re-record it. And because of that, if all of a sudden my mic goes out like it did, I don't have anything to reread what was written there. I'm going to be a little more careful about that next time. But yeah, if you like what I do, or maybe you don't like what I do and you like the concept of what I do, then you can go check out Shabes for his kind of tempo on how he does this. And this concludes This Week in Anitube. Stay for the fan art portion because it's not that long, and as always, I bid you adieu. Thanks for watching. Fan art time! And today we have two fan arts from George Joseph Grimack. The first one being him drawing me in a Hunter x Hunter style. It's very nice, although the next one takes the cake, where he draws me using various different art styles. I personally really like the Madoka box one. The Slay of the Moon one's pretty funny, and I really like the JoJo's one, although all of them are decently good. Keep up the good work, George Joseph Grimack. And that's all we have for today. And as always, I bid you adieu. Thanks for watching.